Do you have a question for me? Well, I probably have an answer because I'm pretty opinionated. But if you want to ask me the question, you can leave me a voicemail at 818-949-8536, and I might just answer your question on the show. Again, that is 818-949-8536.
I found publisher's note. Should parties find themselves stuck in one of the positions, they are advised to contact 911 immediately.
If you didn't stretch, if you didn't do all the intense stretching beforehand.
Oh my God.
Stuck in a position called 911? Oh my God, we're reading this book.
Oh my God.
Speaking of forgot about, I forgot my book. I never finished my book. I tried real hard, and I could not get it done, and I just couldn't do it.
Finished it today.
You did?
About an hour ago.
Yeah. You read it a while ago.
I read it a while ago, and I was very much intending to reread it.
But you have lots of notes.
And then only in the beginning, because I only reread the beginning. And I skimmed a lot of it the second time around. I just did not have... I just didn't have the time to get through it a second time.
You're the ride or die.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert. I love it, though. 100 Ways to Change Your Life. What'd you think about this book?
I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. I thank you, Cathy, for bringing it to our attention. I thought it was fantastic. And I don't know why, I guess my just sort of rebellious, negative voice was like, why does Liz Moody, why does this young, pretty girl, why does she have all of the answers to changing your life? I just kind of like, the way we have been over the years about some people, if you're too young and writing a self-help book, I'm like, I don't know, I'm a little skeptical. What do you know? But it's these aren't just her random ideas. It's all based in science. So it's all people that she's interviewed or she's read their books. It's all based in science. And so she's just sort of created a little encyclopedia of 100 Ways to Change Your Life. And I thought it was great. A lot of them, like all self-help books, there are a lot of things that you're already doing. So it's not like you're going to get 100 aha moments. It's like a bunch of them, but you can give yourself a little pat on the back and go, oh yeah, at least I'm doing a few things here. But I got a lot of tips on what I would like to change. I also, in my ideal world, I would like to book club this with my kids this summer, maybe with the whole family. And because I feel like it's one of those things that kind of meets you where you are. So everyone could have a different takeaway of like, oh, well, I'm not open to doing that one thing. Like maybe I'm not open to meditating, but I am open to trying this other thing. And yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I read it 3 months ago and I started to reread it. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, I sort of like I got something different out of it the second time around, right? So I think it depends on where you're at. And yeah, I thought I really liked it. I thought it was really helpful. There's a lot of things in there that it's super short and easy to read. Like every thing to change your life is a page and a half to 3 pages. You know what I mean? So it's not really hard. It's very easy to like walk away from this book. And yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you're like, oh yeah, I'm already doing that. Or that doesn't matter. That's not something I'm struggling with or whatever. But I'm like, oh, Max is struggling with this. Stephen needs to read this. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things in there. And I actually thought about the same thing, that young adults would be really, could benefit from this book.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I thought it was easy, real digestible, very compartmentalized. You could almost pick it up and read it at any point.
Yeah.
She puts it in sections that are kind of like, I don't know about topic based, but kind of all relevant things grouped together.
Yeah,
sort
like
of
themes and then a bunch of, but all of the chapters are so short.
They're so short. Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like some of it I didn't need. Some of it was just a slight shift in what I was already doing. And some of it I was like, oh, that's really great. I wish I had my damn book. It's been one of those weeks where I don't even know where it is. I started listening to it on audiobook because I was reading it and then I was running out of time. So I put it on audiobook and now I can't even find the actual book. So I was reading it with my ears.
I did both, actually. I had the book, but then I did a lot of driving when I just moved Camille out of her dorm. I drove for 8 hours, so there was a lot of time in the car to fill, and I listened to it as well.
Oh,
so,
nice.
yeah.
Does she read it?
Yeah.
Yes, she is reading it. Yeah, she's a easy to read writer, and she's not a hard to read writer. She writes very kind of conversationally, so it's super easy. What was one of your best, like, I'm going to put that to practice?
Well, I'll say the newest thing. So you and I had a conversation a week and a half ago about like hydration, right? And about like drinking enough water, but you should be drinking liquid IV because, it helps keep you more hydrated. And in menopause, this is one of the things that people could be struggling with, et cetera, et cetera. So of course I blindly just start drinking liquid IV every day. I'm like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And like, even in her intro, she was like, we hear about all these things that are good for us and we start doing these things, but like, why? And is it actually good for us, right? So your doctor had a conversation with you about this specifically, right? Mm-hmm. Does that mean it's working for me? And I'm like, I don't actually know. Like, I'm just drinking it every day because I'm supposed to. Yeah. But like, is that true? Mm-hmm. So just the idea of being a little more mindful. Like, it's not like it's hard to drink liquid IV, right? Like, right. But like, does it actually benefit me in any way? And I'm like, I don't actually know. Like, I'm just like on this treadmill. And like, I don't know, I feel like I end that way a lot with a lot of things, right? Like you just keep going without even really recognizing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I just want to be more mindful. Like, I don't know, there's less time in our lives. I feel like my life is more busy. So like, why am I doing things that may or may not matter? Mm-hmm. And if they don't matter, then they need to go.
Yeah.
So
how about she even had a chapter on that about launching things that don't work for you. I thought about Cathy during because one of the chapters was about cold plunges or
oh my God, the showers. One? Yeah.
But she says flat out here that, not everything is for everyone. The goal isn't for you to like change 100 things in your life.
Right.
It's to like, what's going to work for you. And I was like, this is never going to work for Cathy. Like, it doesn't matter what the science says about what a cold plunge does for you. It's just Cathy Fromkin will be miserable and freezing cold for the rest of her life. And, so she doesn't need to do this. Like, it's just off the table.
It's funny. I read that chapter and I was like, I get it. But I just I will not ever pull that trigger.
I have a theory about you, though. So I read something. The science is actually that women's internal body temperature is slightly lower than men's. And so I think that's why we tend to be more cold than the men in our life. But also, when there's a baseline for something, it is a baseline. It doesn't mean like everybody's temperature should be exactly this. Right. It's like there is a range, and yours is probably slightly lower than the average person. Like, it's healthy for you, but that's just what it is. And so you don't need to be hosed down with
cold plunge. I hate it ever. Yeah. It's the worst. It doesn't work for me either. I hear you.
Yeah.
What was something in there for you?
Oh, I found so many. This one, never be the one to say no to yourself. And I was like, I am a critical thinker. That is a good thing in some ways. It is not so great when you're critical about your own ideas. I can pick any idea apart. So anytime I have a great creative idea, I'll be really excited and high on it for a day or so. And then I start saying, well, so-and-so really did this well, and so-and-so did something, it was not exactly the same, but it's similar. But then if you combine so-and-so, I can find any way to pick apart my great ideas, and I'm constantly saying no to myself. Like, oh, well, I don't really have the education. You really should have a PhD for that. Or whatever yeah. So I need to read this one. I flagged it and I just put, wow, I need this reminder. And then I can't read what else I wrote about that. But yeah. So I think I will meditate upon that. And there's a page, like all of the self-help books that we love so much. She does this like want to dive deeper, like a little half a page thing. So for that particular chapter, want to dive deeper, she suggests a lot of different episodes of her podcast and then different resources from guests that she's had on her podcast over time. So I think I probably need to do a deep dive into all of those.
Good plan.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was reading this book. I just laughed to myself because I don't know what chapter it was. I found this chapter that was helpful. Gosh, I wish I had my book with me because I marked it in my book. I cannot believe I can't find my damn book. And I was like, Bert, listen to this. I'm reading this. It's 100 Ways to Change Your Life. And here's a suggestion how to like be more efficient with something. And he goes, why are you reading that book? You don't need that book. Your life is great. What do you want to change about it? Everything's working fine. I wouldn't listen to anything in that book. I was like, dude, I'm trying to learn something new. You just undermined everything I'm doing. So I just had to laugh to myself. But I don't remember what it was. It was something about being, more efficient. I know something that I am not good at that I was in this book is about kind of scheduling is a strong word, but scheduling, for lack of a better word, space in my days to be creative. Everything is so run and gun. And creativity looks different for everybody. Creativity may be cooking a nice meal, I just don't schedule any time for anything other than what's scheduled. And sometimes, like there was one chapter in there, she was like, I schedule when I read a book. I schedule when I take a nap. I schedule when I take a bath or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I look at my calendar and I'm already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
If I filled every minute with like, now you're going to read, now you're going to nap, I would be like, there's no time in my day. I have no time.
Right. But
That would
by
stress
not
me out.
scheduling it, you're probably not
I don't
doing
do
any
it.
of those things.
Right.
Yeah. I hear you.
So some of the book really frustrated me because I was like, some of it was like, for me was that where I go, well, I want help, but the help you're giving me is making me anxious.
Well, but I think part of that too is she talks about putting it on autopilot, right? So if you schedule reading for 20 minutes before you fall asleep, and then that just becomes the habit, you're not really scheduling that in your day. You're not adding it to your calendar where it causes you anxiety. It just becomes your routine where this is how you decompress and fall asleep at night. You know what I mean? So it's scheduled, but not when you open your calendar and you're like from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. I don't have a second to breathe,
Yeah. Well, she did have both.
She did have both.
She did have both options. She's like, I schedule when I read. I schedule when I work out. It's on my calendar. This is on my calendar. And then she did have that also, just get in the habit of doing it same time every day.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The problem with that, I mean, I hear you I feel very overscheduled, and it's fine when the day goes perfectly.
Right.
But more often than not, something happens. I get a call from family that's at some level of emergency. I literally I was freaking out because Richard called me one day and I realized okay, I'm freaking out because I haven't scheduled time in my day to talk to my husband. That's ridiculous.
Right.
That's completely absurd. That's just not functional. That's not sustainable. So I'm clearly overscheduled. So the problem is me. The problem is my expectations of what I can get done in a day, because it's always adding on. I think that's what we're all doing, that we're just always adding on another responsibility or another goal instead of taking anything off in the first place.
It's so true. I was just thinking, just said that right before we started the podcast. How are our kids out of the house? And I'm the busiest I've ever been. I don't know. I'm the busiest I've ever been. And I'm looking at the last couple weeks of high school, right? Going I really want to enjoy the last couple weeks of high school. This is it. I'm done dropping a kid off at school every day. and I'm starting to be sad about it. And I have no time to really even process it or enjoy it the way I want to pick her up from school and be done with work when I pick her up from school. And I don't think that's happening tomorrow. I'm not sure it's going to happen Friday. And then I'm down to like the last 2 weeks of school. So I don't know. It's a weird, crazy life. And you're right. We just seem to keep piling things, more and more things. And some of it is in the name of taking care of yourself, right? But maybe taking care of yourself is doing nothing, is scheduling nothing. I was working out this morning going, yes, working out is self-care, but I might need some time off from some self-care because there's a lot of commitment and a lot of effort to getting to a trainer 3 days a week is a part-time job. Really, in some ways, it's really hard. And you don't even have to feel that way if you have a trainer, obviously. You feel that way if you really commit to taking care of yourself and working out every day. Unless you're those types of people who just totally thrive on working out, most of us regular humans look at it as a job and a chore. And even though it's self-care, and even though we read the other book that said don't look at it as a chore, look at it as self-care, sometimes it just looks like a chore. And it's just exhausting.
Well, she said sort of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like look at the functional benefits. So it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like you're exercising. You're like, oh, I'm making my body stronger.
Yeah.
Which is a lovely mind shift if you can make that happen, right?
Yeah.
Although one of the other chapters I just perused at the end of the book was about choosing 3 things to make a priority each day so that your list doesn't become like, because we do that all the time, right? You just add more and more things. But if you feel like you can accomplish 3 major things throughout the day, then it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And chances are you're going to accomplish more than 3 anyway.
I bought a notepad to do that for me. Like there's a notepad where you list everything you need to do. And then you list the top 3 things from that list so that you can check things off your big list. It's your top 3 list. But you know what? It takes time to write that freaking list every day.
It does. I do the same thing where like I have my big long list and then I'm like, okay, Monday, these are the things I'm going to accomplish on Monday. And of course, I add way too many to it. So it's never done. But then Tuesday, I'm going to do this, right? So if it's a little more manageable, but yeah, you're right. You got to sit down and find the time to write that list and then organize your day. Like, what can I actually accomplish on Monday? Apparently nothing.
I bought this notebook called the Dashboard. I love this thing. It's like wide. It's not the rectangle is wide. So it's like on its side. And then it has 8 little columns. So 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. Each, the top is all lined. But the top of each column is like gray. So it's a heading. And then there's a list and little boxes you can check off. So I can have 8 small lists.
Is this electronic or?
No, it's like an actual written note.
Yeah.
It's called the Dashboard. So that I can be like I have one for my personal life, one for my house, like repairs that I need in the house, one for the trip we're taking this summer, one for the Fully Loaded Festival. You know, I have one column that's just for Bert. Like if I need to ask Bert a question or address something with Bert. And so I make my lists in that way instead of one long to-do list. And then I just start flipping through. Well, what can I have a little free time. I'm going to knock a few things off my personal list. And then also when I end up having a meeting with somebody that's about like the Fully Loaded Festival, I don't have to look back through my notes. It's in that column. And then every like 3 or 4 weeks, I've marked enough stuff off of those columns that I start over and transfer stuff down. That way I'm not making I keep making lists. And because I've using a notebook to make a list, I'm flipping, I'm taking notes for things and then I can't find my list. That dashboard's awesome. That's something I would recommend.
That sounds great. Where did you find it?
Ink plus Volt. Ink and Volt, but it's inkplusvolt.com.
Okay.
Maybe it's Ink and Volt. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love it. I sent one to our producer, Stacy, and she loves it too. I was like, this is way, because you have so many different moving pieces, right? And they're,
And I also like to handwrite it. If I don't handwrite it, I can't remember it. Like there's something about that that I really like.
About that there is something about, because I think a couple of these chapters were literally about making lists. I mean, they weren't called make a list, but But she did talk about like the connection that it somehow wires better if you're actually writing it down than if you just keep a digital list.
I also print things out on a printer because I'm old school that way. I'm the only person in this office, I think, that uses a printer. But I can't read it like when you have to scroll from screen to screen to screen. I can't keep up with what I just looked at. I have to see it all so I can like reference it quickly. And the scrolling is I can't find it. It's too old.
It bothers my eyes more on a screen than like a notepad.
What else is in your little
this is one that this is like basically like we're basically just going to make a list of all my flaws here because these are all the things that I need to do. Practice decisiveness. And
that's not my problem.
Oh, that is my problem big time.
You find yourself to be indecisive?
Big time.
Really?
Yeah.
I make decisions too fast sometimes where I go, I should have thought about that for a minute.
Like about what kind of stuff?
About everything. I mean, anything from like, I always tell Richard that if it's like Mother's Day, my birthday, anything, if he dares to ask me where I want to go out for dinner, I'm like, no, the gift is you decide. Like, that's part of the gift.
That's the decision fatigue.
Fatigue, that's the thing.
But that's different than like indecisiveness. Yeah.
I think that I feel overwhelmed with decisions and I end up indecisive. Yeah. And then I'm a people pleaser. I'm working on it in therapy, but a lot of the time I'm like second guessing, well, what would Cathy prefer that I pick? What would LeeAnn prefer that I pick? What would, so not getting in touch with my own decisiveness. So,
I do that both though. I always, if the three of us were going to dinner, I would think, well, what would they like to eat?
Yeah.
But then I have no problem going, I'm going to ask if they want Italian. Let's go here, But that indecisiveness, I think, is exhausting.
Yeah.
Right? Because it just runs yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I would think that would be exhausting. Decisiveness is also exhausting, by the way. I think it's all exhausting in a certain way. Okay, so you're indecisive and you're...
Any other problems? Yes, I have a lot. So, well, this one actually isn't about... Yeah. But I loved this chapter, Create a Failure Resume, where she suggests basically making a list of your failures and to just sort of keep this a running thing. And, oh my God, I need glasses. That a failure resume is free of judgment and shame, that it's a tool to transform your future behavior. So it's the act of reflecting that helps to reinforce insight so that you can move forward from a failure. So you can look at past failures and go like, oh, okay, this relationship crashed and burned. But what did I learn from it? And really it sort of like puts the focus on your resilience and your problem solving. So yeah, I thought that was very good. I thought that would be actually really helpful for my kids, instead of looking at something like failing a class as being such a grave disaster, as going, okay, what did you learn though? Like, and what's going to be different next time?
I think that is a good one for kids. Right?
Yeah.
Like, this was not the best. However, you have grown so much. You have done X, Y, or Z because of it. You have learned this about yourself, right? So in the future, you need to do this instead or whatever. Yeah, I think that's especially, our kids are in that age where we softly launched them out of the nest. They're holding on by a tether and they're like mostly succeeding and flailing wildly all at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like they're doing fantastic. And then sometimes you're like, oh my God, it's a fucking train wreck.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think it's helpful for them to keep that in perspective, right? Like you are going to fail in life.
Yeah, it's a great perspective.
We've all failed and we're all okay.
Yeah.
Yes, especially their generation where everybody got a trophy.
Yes.
They don't experience failure or like being left out.
Yeah. Or they were locked up during the, lockdown, or they were, there's like so many different reasons that they haven't experienced so much.
Yeah. You're right. This is a good book for the young people out there.
Yeah, but it's also good for old people like myself.
Wife the Party is brought to you by Omaha Steak. With Father's Day right around the corner, what do you give the man who has everything? Easy. You give him an experience he'll never forget. You give him Omaha Steaks. The Father's Day experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to put a smile on the big guy's face this summer with hand-selected gift packages starting at just $89. Just go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code WIFE at checkout for an additional discount when you shop gourmet gift packages for Father's Day. Omaha Steaks equals the world's best beef, naturally aged for the ultimate in tenderness, juiciness, and flavor. Omaha Steaks knows exactly what dads want. Steaks. This Father's Day, give him an experience he'll always remember. Mouthwatering steaks and a reason to think about you. Order now and send Dad unforgettable gift packages starting at just $89 with promo code WIFE. 5 generations of family-owned expertise means uncompromising quality you can trust. Every steak and every entree is flash frozen, vacuum sealed, and ready to prepare when Dad wants to grill. All backed by their unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. I am a huge fan of Omaha Steaks. I buy Omaha Steaks for my dad and my Uncle Steve all the time because, they're meat and potato kind of people. But they have more than that. It's one of the things I really like about Omaha Steaks. They have, one skillet meals that have shrimp. They have one skillet meals with pasta, as well as what you would expect from them, which is wonderful beef and great twice-baked potatoes. And their chocolate cream pie is out of this world. From dad jokes to skin knees, your dad is one of a kind. This Father's Day, show him the love with Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code WIFE at checkout for exclusive savings on gift packages starting at just $89. He's guaranteed to love it.
Actually, there was a chapter about aging or something. Oh yeah, challenge limiting aging beliefs. This is actually something that I have intentionally done already. So this isn't one that I've flagged to do, but I guess just do more of. Mm-hmm. In my Instagram, I've made a point of starting to follow people who are older than me to just normalize that aging people are vital and
fun
and doing great things. Like there's this woman, Kim Hale. Her Instagram is something, the dancer Kim Hale or something, who in midlife, I think she was a lawyer or something, but in midlife, she was like, my real dream was to dance on Broadway. All she wanted to do was be on Broadway. And somehow life took her in other directions. And she just performed in Chicago last night. She quit her job, moved to New York and started dancing. I'm not familiar with her whole story.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. Cool. And I'm like, okay, I want to follow people like that instead of, people. One thing that she talks about in another chapter is jealousy and unfollow people that make you feel bad about yourself.
Right.
Or whatever. Yes. And so this is the flip side of that.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That's a good thing to do. I like that plan of following someone who's older than you that's really living a beautiful, full, amazing life.
Because the opposite is just vomiting in our faces at all times, that it's like, you're getting older. And there was another chapter that was on, or maybe it was that same chapter, challenging aging beliefs, where it's like, instead of going like, oh, my back, oh, I'm getting old, question well, maybe your back hurts because you just lifted that entire Costco order out of your trunk.
Right.
And that's normal. Normalize some of the, why do you have to immediately leap to I'm so tired. Oh, it's because I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Right.
It's I'm so tired because I'm kicking ass and I'm doing so much. My days are so full.
So true.
Yeah.
We should have a different perspective about what our age group looks like. I mean, Bert and I were out last night at the Marcus King concert. And I was like, it's a Tuesday and we are out at a concert. And we went to bed at 1:30 in the morning. And I thought, we were driving home, Bert goes, so is this what Empty Nester is going to be? We're just going to start partying hard. I'm like, yeah, This is what it can be. Why can't we just?
Yeah.
Why can't we do that? There's no reason. What are we supposed to like start rocking in a rocking chair now that we have no kids at home?
Yeah.
It's so cool to be this age and feel good and be able to afford fun things like a concert. You know, concert is not that deep in the grand scheme of the world, but when I was younger, I couldn't afford to go to a concert at all. So it's nice to be able to go, yeah, let's do it Tuesday night. Why not?
I think part of our culture is starting to embrace that, right? Because all of the celebrities we grew up with are now our age, right? And they're like, wait a minute, I'm not fucking old. Like, so hopefully we can start normalizing that we're only 50.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of things, it's only 50. We're not even close to like done, you know?
I'm not close to that. I am 53 though. I am the Black Panther in the room.
Yes,
53.
you are.
Or the Silver Panther in the room, as you will.
Yes. What else, Kirsten? I feel so unprepared. I feel like the loser of the group who left her dog ate her homework.
This is just par for the course. I am the nerd of the group who has made too many notes, and we can all have a good laugh at my expense. This one I thought was really interesting and really like sort of food for thought with the family. Let your loved ones surprise you. I see that when I...
Okay.
Well, just in terms of we get sort of into our like, oh, okay, she's the funny one. She's the quirky one. She's the anxious one. She's the... Do you know what I mean? Like that we start treating people as less than their full selves, but also... we don't allow them to grow because we've seen them. It's like when you run into somebody from your hometown and you're both expecting each other to be that 13-year-old. Of course you've evolved. Of course that was 50 years ago, but 40 years ago. But but it just naturally happens. And I think just really, really actively reminding yourself not to let that happen and to just sort of observe behavior and let it be. I think that that's why some midlife divorces happen. I think some people do not feel seen by their spouse as the complete person that they currently are. They are seen as the person that they used to be.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really interesting food for thought all around. I hear my kids say things sometimes. Like I heard something about the high school about like, oh, well, she's always been. And I was like, whoa, like, always been, always is a big word when we're talking about a 16-year-old, you know? Like, and I said, listen, 16-year-olds can be assholes. Like people of all ages can be assholes, but like you guys are figuring things out at this age and people may surprise you. But yeah, so just thinking that through like into all areas instead of like, oh, great, this is this person again. And like just letting them surprise you is very generous and, much bigger person than I am, like for the most part. But I think it's a good aspirational thing.
I like that to let your family surprise you. I like that. I thought you meant like bring you flowers. That's what I thought. I was like, my daughter did come home from college as a surprise for Mother's Day. So I can't really say that my family did it. That's what I thought you meant. Never mind. Let them surprise you.
But that's a good surprise too.
Yes, it was. But slightly different than what she's talking about. I was very superficial.
That's not superficial.
Though. It's just different.
Well, just different than what she meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to kind of be curious instead of just be settled in who they are.
Be open, right? Which is, I think, is one of the chapters too, is about being open-mindedness, open something or other, basically. Just, being willing to hear and see different perspectives and who different people are.
Totally.
Yeah.
We all should strive to be better at that, right? See somebody. I think it's good practice to observe a person and not just assume who they are. Really just observe. Anyway.
There was a chapter in here that was about it was something about like not everybody's going to like you and you need to accept that. I'm 52 years old and I was like, that hit me like a freight train. Like,
really?
Yeah, that I was like, not everyone is going to like me. Like, I know that not everyone likes me. I know that.
Yeah.
But I just mean, just the way she went into it deeper than that. But it just made me think about a social event that I was at recently where somebody who I've met at least 10 times in my life over the past 10 years introduced themselves to me. And I was like, is she out of her mind? Like, what? It was so rude. I was so offended.
Right, because you've met her
by
so many
this.
times.
And this person, I believe to be quite full of herself and themselves, whatever. And but still, I just went home ruminating over that, going, am I that uninteresting, undynamic a person that you don't remember meeting me 10 times? Not just meeting, but like also seeing at school events and all of the school things over a span of 10 years that I was like, really now?
That's
Am
crazy.
I such it made me like, I was having a rough moment anyway. So it was like, it kicked me when I was down, just feeling like, wow, I guess I'm really not likable. Like I must be really unlikable. All of these things, spiral. And so reading that I was like, not everyone is going to like you. I guess this woman does not like me. The feeling's mutual.
Right.
I don't like her either. So
That's so funny. I don't think about that ever. Like, ever.
Yeah, but does anybody ever say that they don't
like me?
Remember you? Or that they don't?
Yeah. There's tons of times when people don't remember me. I don't know. Not someone that I'm in the same school with for 10 years, if that might be a little different. But yeah, I meet people like in Bert's work where I've met them a million times and they don't remember me at all. Maybe I just don't care. Maybe I am dead inside.
No, it's not dead inside.
But dead inside. I'm like, you don't like me? Cool.
But if you have a good sense of self, then you're just like, okay. It doesn't matter. I mean, it shouldn't matter.
But I think you have a good sense of self.
Usually, but I am such a people pleaser that I really, it just made me think, I've always been so nice to this person who's, so, the least she could do is the common fucking courtesy of saying, oh, nice to see you again. Or something,
right.
Just, yeah.
So she's an idiot. Move on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, she is.
Yeah.
She is.
Conclusion is
that is true.
Move on. Yes.
Move on.
Yeah. You know that. You knew that 10 years ago too.
What else do you have marked in your book, Kath?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Here, let's see.
You guys are doing all the heavy lifting. I'm like, seriously, like my brain is blank. I was just listening to it this morning too. My brain is blank.
You're speaking to the choir.
Yep.
Sister, I can't remember anything at all. Like seriously, I think I'm losing my mind most of the time.
No, you're just over.
Okay, nothing for Mila.
See, like now I don't even remember if this is the one I already talked about where it's like, wait a minute, you should be figuring out if this stuff really works for you or just because someone told you to do it, that like N+1 experiment or that one, do N of 1 experiments. Like, is it relevant in your life or is it just the thing you're supposed to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like meditation, at our kids' school, they started teaching meditation, and a parent who I know and really like, who's like a good person and a good, open to everything, was very upset that the class was doing meditation. She's not religious or anything. So I was like, what is her problem with it? And she said, I guess her daughter had a complete freak out meditating because meditation is really, mindfulness meditation works for like 95% of people, but there's like a small percentage of people who it has the opposite effect and it triggers a panic attack. And her daughter had a complete freak out. And it turns out, she talked to the pediatrician and everything, and it's actually within the realm of normal. It's just that a small percentage of people have this reaction to it. So, that's the end.
Right.
Experiment.
Exactly. 100%. Right.
It's like most people should do this, but if you totally freak the fuck out, then just drop it.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Then just
exactly.
drop it. Just drop it.
Yeah.
Move on.
Then don't do it anymore. Yeah. Wait, what was the other one? Oh, this one was I can't see. Use a success framework, where the WHOOP method comes in, where what's your wish? what would be the outcome? And then like, obviously that's how people mostly make goals. And then we forget about like the second half, like what is the obstacle that is going to prevent you from getting there, right? That's the thing we never address, right? We're like, oh, I want this to happen and I'm going to, exercise every day. I'm going to lose 10 pounds and whatever in 3 weeks. And then, but we forget about there's going to be an obstacle. You're going to get the flu. Something's going to happen. Like, so why don't we build that feature in to our plan so that we are actually successful instead of being completely derailed. And I just really like that framework where like there are more than 2 steps to being successful at something. There's a very scientific.
What page are you on? Because I want to mark that.
And just mark it as whoop. There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoop,
It's
there it is.
I remember that was a part
25. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was listening to that.
And the P
audio.
is like, what's your plan to get over the obstacle?
Right.
Right. So you're more likely to have success if you have a well thought out plan. Right.
Yeah.
And not drunkenly say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was helpful.
That's really helpful.
Of course, I haven't remembered it, so it can't be all that helpful. But in theory, it's a helpful thing to do.
Oh.
This is the one that hit me like originally. I think I talked about this when I recommended this book was eliminate sources of decision fatigue. Like automate some of those like deliveries to your house so you don't have to think about, paper towels, right? They just show up at your house because you know you're going to need them.
Yep.
So just put them on repeat delivery every 2 months and call it a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. I've been trying to do more of that. Hasn't been super successful.
Has it? How come?
Because trying to figure out the delivery timing has been a challenge.
Yeah. They're either too early or too late.
They're too early or they're too late. And then all of a sudden you have 4,000 paper towels and you're like, I don't have coffee.
Yeah.
What's more important?
Yes.
Let me tell you, I need the freaking coffee. You know? So yeah, we're still working on that. But
that is
in general, it's a great plan if you can get it to work.
To time. It never times right. What I have to do is
I agree.
I make it come early and then every couple months I skip.
Yes.
I mean, it's still work to skip it, but it's less work than actually having to go buy it.
Yes, exactly.
You just have to
like the fact that they send you the notification, do you want it? And you can be yes or no.
Yeah.
Is super helpful.
Yeah, totally.
It is still a decision, so it's not entirely eliminated, but the fact that I don't have to think about like, oh, I have a million paper towels.
Right.
Just
it's better.
Yeah.
It is better.
It is much better.
It's better.
Yeah. So
way better.
Anyway. What else do I have? Kirsten, you have so many.
I know. What's your next one, Kirsten, while she's finding her?
Oh, well, on the very first
that was the
page, chapter 1, she says, the second that wellness is making your life worse, not better, it is no longer wellness.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah. If you're so concerned about the contents of a restaurant's menu that you miss out on a meal with your friends, you are not using the tool that is wellness to enhance your life. If you're swearing at yourself during a workout, critiquing the shape of your body, trying to hate yourself into a shape that society happens to have decided is trendy, that is not wellness. If your morning routine is so long that just thinking about checking off all the boxes stresses you out, that is not really your best life.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's not like, brain surgery, but it is a good reminder that it's like, it's not, you can do all, if you're like, I gotta meditate, damn it.
Right. That's that theory Rachel Hollis said in her book, work-life balance is a myth. It's a total myth. It should just be what it is for you. And what works this week may not entirely work next week. The stuff we read from that, How to Organize While You're Drowning, a lot of that stuff has really stayed with me about, giving yourself a break for things. And that to me has created more wellness than anything I've read recently or done or tried to apply recently. Was just that theory of just kind of letting go of a need to be a certain thing, even to get enough sleep, To be honest with you, this past week with this Netflix is a Joke festival, we've been so busy. I've been like up so late so many nights in a row that I've been like, just don't worry about it. You want to be in all these places. Don't let it stress yourself out thinking how much sleep you're missing. sleep next week. You'll catch up next week. Just get through the time. And it kind of made it a little easier. Just go like, okay, it's another crazy day and another crazy day and another crazy day. And the crazy days will be over and then you can sleep and it'll be okay. So I'll be sleeping through our bridging ceremony on Sunday. Have fun with that. I don't think I'm going to make it to Girl Scouts. I'm just kidding.
Just schedule to cancel last minute. That's the plan. Mm-hmm.
I hear that's the way it's going to start.
Apparently,
right?
Yeah.
Sandy is a
that
mess.
Girl, man.
Just schedule it and then cancel it last minute. Okay. Excellent example to set for those Girl Scouts. Way to go, Sandra.
We know where you've been for the last 8 years.
I know, not here. Set it up and walk out. She's a piece of work, that
Canceled
girl.
last minute,
Right?
didn't she? Mm-hmm. Convenient, that girl.
Sucker.
Anyway, this one I thought was really fascinating. The one that says gesture and fidget more. That it actually, right? Like,
yes.
that it helps you remember things, that it helps you focus more. Like we are not, our bodies are not designed to sit still in a classroom or in a meeting or whatever. Like we're not meant to just be motionless, right?
Yeah.
So the more that we fidget and whatever, it actually helps our brain focus and get more accomplished. I was like, oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Yeah, I can't sit still. I never sit still. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It helps you. See, none of us are still.
I don't, yeah, like,
I
was like, I think about it like it's only my foot though. Like if I'm sitting in some sort of meeting, I don't really fidget. Like I'm not a doodler. I don't think I fidget.
I doodle
my
a little
foot
bit.
All the time.
But. A doodle. Remember that?
Doodle.
I'm always in motion and it drives Richard crazy. He's like, okay. Like he'll put his hand on my leg and be like, you're moving, you're jiggling. And I'm like, you know what? It burns calories too. Yeah. Like it really does. I'm not doing it for that purpose, but it's like, you know, if you're moving, if you're constantly moving, like.
Yeah, it's hard to stay still.
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from the book?
My biggest takeaway? That so much change is so little effort. Like so much of this book is about little shifts, about doing little things, just about thinking about things differently. And about like, I don't know, I just feel like not everything is a like pass fail.
Right.
Like sometimes you're gonna like, this week I'm going to get it right. And next week, maybe not so much. And it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like if you just keep attempting, I don't know. I feel like that's change in and of itself. And sometimes just the thought process is helpful.
I love that. That's great. What about you, Kirsten? What's your takeaway from the book?
I don't know what my biggest takeaway is. My biggest takeaway was just that I wanted to share this with my family. And because out of 100 things, there are just so many things. And I just knew that things would resonate in a different way. Like even Cathy and I have different things marked off. And that's my biggest takeaway. The other big takeaway was getting validated for my list making. So it was like, yes, okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Everyone back off about the lists. Everyone meaning not you.
Yes.
I know you were a list supporter.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
are you.
I have a dashboard of lists. Yes. I've already determined.
I'm already filing that away going, I think I need a dashboard.
I love it. Love my dashboard.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law bought one. Not everybody, list makers who've seen it have been like, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. These old youngins downstairs who do everything on their electronics are like, what? She's carrying that old thing around.
I do a version of the dashboard every day. I divide a piece of paper in 4, and then I put like work, chore, family, me. And then it changes. Like those aren't the only 4 categories, but those are just like my list for the day where it's like, okay, like in the me part, it's like workout, or in the, I don't know, just it's helpful to have it divided like that so that I see if I'm like veering too much into, well, look at, you've spent all this time on chores and you haven't attended to these other areas.
That's a good way to do it. I like that way of doing it too. Mine would just all be work. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's a really good way of looking to see if you can we all know work-life balance is a myth, but at least to see if you can make sure you get a few categories.
Some
touched.
version of it.
Yeah, every day. A little bit of personal, a little bit of work, a little bit of self-care, a little bit of spouse/family. That's really smart. I like that. My biggest takeaway from the book, it was super easy to read. There's something in it for everybody. I learned a few new things. It definitely wasn't a huge aha book for me, but it definitely was worth reading. And I never thought about reading it with my family. The how to declutter while drowning book was one I definitely was like, my family needs this book. But I can see why you would think that about this book. It was really practically applied, would be very helpful. And you're right, very small shifts can create really big change. I think that's a good takeaway. It was a good book.
Yeah.
Good book.
Good call, Cathy.
Good call, Kath.
Thanks.
Now
what?
shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
What do you
Oh my
mean
God, I
now?
forgot
Like,
about that. Because
Kathy?
I remembered what we were talking about
Dun,
in terms
dun,
of what
dun.
the book would be. Yeah.
Let's talk about
did you have
sex,
one?
baby. Let's talk about you.
We had a
and
group
me.
chat going
Oh, I
We
don't
for a
did.
while
Oh,
here.
that was a long time ago.
So we came up with a few. Oh, my phone is frozen.
It
Yeah, I
was a
love
while
that
ago.
the sex chat is under Girl Scout leaders.
I know.
So is that the badge we're learning? The
That
Girl
is
Scout leaders.
our first badge.
That's our first badge for 8085.
80085. First badge. Let's see.
Wow.
Wow, that's way back.
Is
How
it
much
in
have
that
we
chat?
talked?
'Cause
Hot
it's-
Sex, How to Do It by Tracy
Wait, did we
Cox.
choose
Where
one
did
of
you
these
find
books
this?
or were we just talking about it?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Is it a coincidence that her last name is Cox? Asking
Yes.
for a friend. She has 150 reviews, only 4 stars. Hot Sex, How to Do It, Tracy Cox.
Wait, where the hell? Oh, here we are. Okay.
How to have ridiculously great sex in a long-lasting relationship. Oh,
had a lot of
993 reviews, 4.5 stars.
Okay, that's better. I mean, 4.5 stars is better.
Wait, are you starting at the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mating in
Bottom.
Captivity. Unlocking Erotic Intelligence. 8,839 reviews, 4.5 stars.
Yeah, but that's by Esther Perel, who's like, she's fantastic.
Okay. How do you know? So you've read this book before?
No, I haven't read this book. No. She has a podcast, and I'm sure you guys know about her from, I think she's like a couples counselor.
The Wild Woman's Way. Reconnect to your body's wisdom. 419 reviews, 4.5 stars.
No.
But that sounds not like a sex book.
Want Me.
I think that's a memoir.
A sex writer's journey into
Wait,
a
Want
heart
Me?
of desire.
Is it a memoir?
Oh, it is?
I
Want
think
Me
so.
is? So tell me about the last time you had sex. Laying bare and learning to repair our love lives. One of the world's most respected voices on erotic intelligence, Esther, how do you say her last name?
Perel.
Offers a bold, provocative new take on intimacy and sex. Mating in Captivity invites us to explore the paradoxical union of domesticity and sexual desire and explains what it takes to bring lust home. She's a couples therapist. Okay, so is that our vote? There's one that's called Come As You Are.
That's
And
supposed
the cover is a zipper that looks like a vagina.
That's
I
actually
don't
supposed to be really good. That gets
How do you know this?
It is supposed to be really good.
Oh my God.
This is a New York Times bestseller. She uses science and research to prove that most important factor in creating sustaining sex life filled with confidence and joy is not what the parts are. No shit. It's the guides to things like stress, mood, trust, body image. I don't know. That one's too self-helpy. I want some dirt.
So what are we looking
I'm
for?
looking
That's
for
the
dirt.
question.
I'm looking for try letting him slap your ass. And this is why you'll like it.
I
Like
don't-
that.
I don't think you're going to get that from Esther
I was going to
Perel.
say, I don't think that's this book. This doesn't sound like that.
I think this one, How to Have Ridiculously Great Sex in a Long-Lasting Relationship, also sounds
I think that sounds
Promising.
pretty good.
Okay.
promising. But
What's yours,
What's yours,
Kathy?
Kathy?
Oh, I don't know. I just typed in.
This one says hot sex, how to do it.
I saw that.
How to do it. Okay, let's see hot sex, how to do it. Hot Sex is an easy to follow guide that cuts straight to the nitty gritty to deliver candid advice and a healthy dose of humor. Packed with tips and techniques that work, Hot Sex includes everything from blow by blow, step by step to oral sex, to finding and figuring out your G-spot, whether you're a beginner and or an old hand. Get it? Old hand.
Oh my God.
Oh my word.
Get into hot sex, the only how-to that really tells you how to do it. Wife of the Party is sponsored by HelloFresh. You know I'm a big fan. HelloFresh. You get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Ditch the meal planning woes and dive into HelloFresh's biggest menu yet, with over 45 recipes and even more market items to choose from every single week. Make restaurant-quality meals at home without the high cost of takeout. Plus, HelloFresh's new Ready in 20 recipes are on the table in just 20 minutes. That's even quicker than delivery. You know, I've been using HelloFresh for years. There's so many things I love about HelloFresh. Not only are they obviously fresh ingredients, I love that you can just grab everything out of the fridge, follow a simple recipe card, and have a great meal in 20 minutes usually. And I love that it inspires me to cook with Isla. I cook with my daughter. It's just really great. It's part of our family and part of our household. Go to HelloFresh.com/wifesuite for free dessert for life. 1 dessert item per box while subscription is active. That's free dessert for life at HelloFresh.com/wifesuite, America's #1 meal kit. Let's look at 101 kinky things. Last one, and then we'll decide.
Good Lord.
Everything you wanted to know about kinky practices is covered in this highly entertaining and readable book. She makes accessible subject for anyone curious about new ways to spice up their sex lives, whether you're looking for ideas, clarification, or just an enjoyable read. This might be a funny read, guys, because then what if, wait, what is that?
Wait, what's it called?
It's called
101 kinky things.
101 even you can do.
How rude.
Even you can do. There's one on biting. Oh, there's one on
you.
putting a collar on your man and leading him around.
Okay. Well, just FYI.
You think Richard would go for that?
Kirsten would not go for that.
Here's a blindfold page. How to talk dirty. Should we do that? 101 nights of great sex. And then we have this podcast in 101 days. One every night.
You're telling me I have to go buy a collar? What?
Right?
Well, realistically, we're not going to have this podcast for like 101 days, right? Because
probably.
Realistically, right?
This is interesting. Okay. It's 101 things that you can do for your partner. So there's 50 for you and 50 for him. And you're not supposed to read the other person's. And you just kind of pick it up and you see what you're supposed to do. Once a week, you and your lover each tear an envelope from the book. There's no turning back now and no peeking at each other's seduction. Just follow your secret instructions. And sometime during the week, you'll each get an erotic surprise.
How about vanilla to kinky?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay, here's the thing. A week or so ago, someone sent me I don't know what you call it, maybe a vibrator that wants to sponsor the podcast. And I said, no, I don't think that's what my podcast is about. I don't want to, obviously do what you got to do in your sex life, but that's not really what I do. So no, I don't think I want them as a sponsor per se. It's just a little too far off for me. Can we send you some product? And I was like, sure, why not? I don't really own any toys or I'm not really that person. So sure, let's see what they send. So they sent me this thing that looks like a fortune cookie. Literally looks like, and I'm like, what the hell do you do with this item? Like, I don't even know what to do with it. Like, I think I know where it's placed on your body. And then it had functions that shocked me. Like, there's a sucking function. There's a suck and a vibrate. And I was like, what? What? Where does this even go on your body? Like, I don't understand what's happening. Do you put it on your neck and it sucks your neck like your kid? I don't understand. So I think to myself, there's this whole world of not dirty sex stuff, because I think we were all brought up to think things like that were a little dirty, right? But why is it dirty? And why can't there be some kind of like tippy toe in that arena that is still very much like, quote, safe, quote, appropriate, and fun? And if we've been with these guys for 20 years, isn't that the safest place to, I don't know, buy a fortune cookie shaped vibrator thing and just stick it in your orifice and see if it works and laugh about it? I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay, so when I was looking, there was a book. I don't know if this is any good, but it said Vanilla to Kinky. So,
let's look at that.
Yeah. The Beginner's Guide. See, this is the problem to BDSM. It's not really
BDSM for beginners.
Yeah, I don't know that I want BDSM.
No.
Yeah,
right?
pass.
But like something like that title. That title is helpful.
There's a book.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
There's a book called Sweaty Mess. Sex games. Sweaty Mess.
Sweaty mess.
What? Sweaty Mess.
Oh, yeah, I see it. It's not very good, by the way.
Wait, Sweaty Mess is not good?
3.7 stars.
Oh. So 101 Kiki things.
How about Position of the Day Playbook?
I saw that. Position of the Day Playbook. It's only 4 stars though. Position of the Day Playbook. Let's look at that one. That might be a good.
Sex every day, every way.
Perfect for bridal showers. Bachelor parties. Oh God. Okay. The sex book for everyone, featuring 366 fun sex positions of varying degrees of difficulty. There's something for everyone here. Beginners will enjoy trying out the corporate merger and the TV dinner. While the more adventurous will have fun with the snowblower and the Quasimodo, which is field testing suggests is best attempted only after a vigorous round of stretching and a can of Red Bull.
Oh, for God's sake.
A position a day keeps the love doctor away.
Oh,
I'm
my
really
God.
skeptical about 366 positions. I mean, seriously.
That is a lot. That's an
a lot.
acrobatic amount.
Yeah.
366.
It's only 376 pages.
Wait,
How
hold
much
on.
stretching do you want to do?
That is what you said?
I know,
That
right?
is what you said. I am really skeptical about these 366 positions. Really? Is it between
Really?
each toe? I mean, what is it? How did they do that? I'm really suspicious.
Seriously. What?
That's your takeaway? Hold
it's
on
only
here.
376 pages. Like there's no reading.
Not that
And
they
there's
named
a
one
book.
Quasimodo, but that requires a Red Bull. But there's 366 is a
No,
real
that
red flag.
that they require intense stretching. I'm like, I don't know.
But we remember in our mid 50s or our early 50s for you people, we can do what generations before us in this age group can't do. We can do some intense stretching and then find Quasimodo
Just
inside.
because we can, it doesn't mean we want to.
So Kirsten passes on the Quasimodo. She's okay.
Well, my
with-
husband's not in town every day, so I can't do a position a day. What
We can't do a position-
hold on.
Can you
What we
imagine?
should actually think about is, what are you going to say to Stephen and Richard when you go home and go, so book club book, 366 positions. Some require stretching. 1 a day. Are you in? What would they say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Stephen will be like, "Where do I get the book?" Like, I'm reading this, and I'm going to check off whether
Be
you
like,
do all
did you overnight
366
it?
or not.
Like,
yeah.
So do you think they'd be down with like a learning book about sex?
Yeah,
You
100%.
think so? Do you think there's anything that I like this pre-talk? Okay. Do you think there's anything? Should we call it foreplay? Just asking. No. Is there anything that you think that you would learn from exploring your sexuality or sex with your husband?
Yeah,
Sure.
probably.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
stuff I
mean-
would learn.
Yeah,
Is it something you're interested in learning?
I feel like
Yes, we've already agreed.
yeah.
No. I'm not. You're doing the book. I'm just having a cognitive conversation about. Are you interested? Are you curious about something? Is there something you're curious about?
I don't know that I have anything specific, but I do know that things have changed and gotten stale. Like it's just the same, and I think our lives are different and whatever, but there's something missing. So, and I don't really know what to do or how to fix that or whatever. It's not like it's broken, but you know what I mean? Like
I do.
Could it be better? Yeah, it could be better. So how do we, I'm open to that, but I don't know where to start necessarily. You know what I mean? So
that's cool. I like that very much. I think that's very relatable. I think Bert and I felt that way a lot until I started actively dating him again. And then that shifted in my brain. That's what happened in my brain as I go, well, if we were dating, we'd be having sex here or then or whatever.
Right.
But
or more than once every 2 weeks or whatever. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's a different kind of focus on your purpose with your partner, right? So we definitely were very much like the same ham sandwich every 2 weeks or whatever for a long, long time. I think it's hard when you have kids and you have so much going on. You just kind of get in a pattern where nothing's broken. Nothing was wrong.
Yes. But is it the best it could be? Are you living your best life?
No, exactly. Now's the opportunity.
We're not in that area. So how do we change that?
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm going into it like reading 100 Ways to Change Your Life, where it's I'm not picking this up going, oh, I need to change my life. But I'm going oh, can I get some tips here? Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I don't know. So I have no idea how much of an impact it will have, but I'm sure there's lots that I don't know about or
Yeah, same. I'm sure there's, because just that fortune cookie shaped article that was sent to me. I don't even know what you call it. Vibrator, I guess. But it sucked and blowed. It was like a sucker and blower. I don't know what I have. It's not a vacuum. It's a vacuum hairdryer combo.
Who is it intended for? You or Bert?
I think for me, it's pink.
I'm trying to imagine. But so
we tried
cookie,
it. Okay. It's odd. It didn't work for me. It was really weird. I was like, not for me. Pass. I didn't get it. But I don't even actually know
what
it's.
Does it come with instructions?
It
I'm just curious because I literally would not know what to do with that.
And it came with different speeds. Where I didn't even know that existed. Did you know these things had a transmission? I did not.
I didn't know there was a fortune cookie in the first place.
Is that a manual or?
I don't know. It's a little bit of everything. It's I didn't know they had speeds.
Could I have an automatic, please?
Right? I thought it was just on and off. And then no, apparently not. There was different, all kinds of shit on it. And I was like, oh my God. And the sucking, you could turn on and off. And I was like, this whole thing is too much for me. I'm just overloaded. Never mind, throw it out.
Too complicated.
But I mean, they make them in all different varieties for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, they must work for some people. And they're not deviants who use these items.
Different people enjoy different things, right? So there are certain toys or tools that are going to work for somebody that may not work for someone else because that's not what works for you. So
totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the book. Which one did we resonate with the most? Was it the one that's called, no, not Position of the Day?
I'll read any of them.
How to make.
I like the Position of the Day one.
You do?
You do?
I don't know. I think it's funny.
Okay.
But it may not have its intended purpose, right?
I'll tell you what.
Hold on. Can you when you can look at the book? Do they have that on
No,
here?
wait. Let's do this. Let's buy Position of the Day and How to Have Ridiculously Great Sex.
It's book 2 of 3. Just FYI, there's a series.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
10 years.
Now we're reading a series.
We have 10 years of Positions of the Day. That's Positions of the Decade. I think Positions of the Day.
It's 1,200 positions.
What is book one, Cathy?
Book 2 of 3. What's book 1?
Look at your face. This is going to be the best podcast ever because of your face. I'm just going to have Austin just hold on your face the whole time we're talking because you're like this. Huh? Huh? What's book one?
Oh my God.
Book one?
I don't know. I can't find it. But
Position of the week?
I found publisher's note. Should parties find themselves stuck in one of the positions, they are advised to contact 911 immediately. Neither chronicle books nor nerve directly. Oh my God. We gave Kirsten another heart attack.
Stuck in a position. Oh my God.
If you didn't stretch, if you didn't do all the intense stretching beforehand.
Oh my God.
Stuck in a position called 911. Oh my God. We're reading this book.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. There's an activity book.
Buy it.
Oh my God.
Position of the day, sex every day in every way is book 1. Book 2 is for the year. Book 3, position of the day, expert edition, sex every day in every way. Oh my God.
Expert edition. You're definitely going to need 911 for that. Holy shit. Okay, we're reading position of the day. And
Oh my
we can
God.
say we can't possibly do it every day because that's
but-
what an Olympic athlete of sex would do. We're just regular folks. So call 911. That's hysterical. Call 911. Okay. But I'm going to buy the other book too. So if we say the position of, maybe we do them in tandem. Right? Look at your face.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see this book.
One's educational, one's practical application, right?
We got to read this one, right?
We have to
Because,
read this
okay,
book.
so we're not doing it 366 days in a row, right? But, you know,
No, we're not
Try
doing it.
out
We
whatever.
should, okay, we should set like a, we're gonna
Yeah.
podcast by, I don't know, the end of August. Because I'm not doing 366 positions on a tour bus, fully loaded. That might be a little
That's another
much.
book entirely.
That's
366 positions on a tour bus.
Exactly. That's
Oh my God.
book four in our series.
Yeah, and you will definitely need 911 for that.
Exactly. Definitely need 911. So end of August.
uh-huh.
So let's do the position a day, and I'm going to buy the other book too.
What
So
was
the
the other
position, it's called "How to Have Ridiculously Great Sex in a Long-Lasting Relationship." So I'll buy that one
Great.
too. And then if the one a day every day is like a pamphlet, you know, if it's 300 pages, it's 370 pages, it's 366 positions. I'm thinking it's not going to be a lot of reading.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of
That's what I was
practical
saying, right? There's
application.
only 376 pages in the book. So
Yeah.
there's probably not a whole lot of text.
Not a lot of reading. A lot of warning labels.
Drink Red Bull. Call 911. Don't get stuck.
Hydrate. Stretch. Your Achilles might snap in this one. Watch out. So then let's read the, let's see what when we get both books, we can see what we think.
Right.
How's that sound?
Okay.
Or maybe we do 2 podcasts,
Yeah.
right? One that's goofy
Yeah.
and one that's a little more serious about whatever.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes. So I'll buy both those books and send them to you. And I think this is going to be hysterical. And
Kirsten's
fun.
like, last minute, I quit.
Never mind. You know, the book club, I just don't have time. I don't have time.
I scheduled it and last minute quit.
I only have 300 days of the 366 days. We could just do what our friends did and just try all positions
Bang
in
them
one
all out,
day.
right.
Yeah, bang it out.
Bang them all out, right? Boo, boo, boo.
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to be fun.
I think
It'll
it's
be
a
a
good
long.
choice.
What's that?
I think it's a good choice. Yeah,
I do too.
yeah, let's do it.
Nice job, ladies. It's called Love Worth Making: How to Have Ridiculously Great Sex in a Long-Lasting Relationship. That's a long title. And the other one was, what was it called?
Positions? No, it was called
Position a Day, Every Day. Position a Day, Every Day.
Position of the Day Playbook.
Oh,
Sex every day in every way.
what is happening in this office chair? Do you see?
366 positions twice. That's a lot of positions.
We got
That's
work
over
to do,
2
my
years.
friends. We got
people.
work
I'm
to do.
exhausted already.
I would like for you to put a hidden
that's
camera
funny.
somewhere so that I
my
can
God.
see. I won't put it anywhere. I just want to see Stephen and Richard's face when you go, so the book club.
Oh my God. I was like, you're not getting a hidden camera for any of the positions.
No, not the position.
Oh my God.
Just the stretching. I just want the pregame stretching.
The Bikram yoga ahead of time.
Exactly. No, I just want to see what Stephen and Richard look like when you say, so anyway, this book club book. We're exploring sex. So we have 2 books about sex. I can see Stephen's face.
Oh my
Stephen's
God,
gonna
yeah.
go, yes, I'm in. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Do you need me to come? Like,
Yes, we do.
You mean to the podcast? Yes.
That's what I meant.
It would be interesting to deep dive afterwards. I don't know if Richard would be comfortable with it, but Bert definitely would be. And I know Stephen would be. They've already podcasted about sex.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to podcast with them because I podcasted with them originally about the disconnect we were having. Like, you know, how sex was like number 1 or 2 for men and like 7 or 8 for women. It was a really good podcast talking to the 2 of them after we had talked with Sam Fisher about how we miss each other. So it might actually be interesting to talk to them, to Stephen and Bert and Richard, if he would like to join afterwards.
I think Stephen and Bert, I think your listeners would enjoy revisiting that podcast.
You don't think Richard? Do you not trust him? Is he going to say, Kirsten's ass? Yum.
I think he's probably fairly private like me.
Yes. I don't need any details. I'm really interested in how and what you discover about yourself, right? And how it affected you, positively and negatively. Because I think that's really fascinating. If you look at something that you've been doing, we've arguably been doing, having sex for a long, long time. And when you turn something on its ear and evaluate how you approach it differently or how it affects you differently, I find that very fascinating, especially something in a safe place like your marriage. You know, you guys are both happily married. Nothing's wrong with your marriage. So I'm fascinated by that. And of course, we'll have laughs and all that stuff. But really, in the bottom of it, I'm really fascinated by that and what you discover about yourself and your partner and your sexuality. So it's going to be so cool. I'm really excited for this podcast. I think it's going to be really fun and really cool. Right?
It's our light summer reading.
Yes.
Yes.
I know next time we'll come in and Cathy will be dressed in leather. Head to toe leather. Kirsten will be dressed like Little Bo Peep. And I'm like, what's happening here? Unleash something. But it'll be really fun. Thanks for being game to do it. I think it's going to be really fun.
It will be.
Thank you. Well, thank you for reading 100 Ways to Change Your Life, too. Of course. I appreciate it. And for always being willing to be book clubbers. I love talking to you guys. It's so much fun. We would never see each other if we didn't do this.
Oh my God,
like.
ain't that the truth?
We're
Right?
so busy. So I'm glad we do this. I wish we could do it more often. But anyway, thank you. I hope you have a lovely day.
You too.
See you on Sunday.
See you Sunday.